Y'all, this cat, this poor baby cat got, I want to say it got attacked by the rooster, but I feel like, oh my God. I probably don't need to show this, but I feel like it probably, oh my God, it's just breaking my heart. He's just licking his wounds, and it probably looks a lot worse because of his hair. If anybody out there is a volunteer vet, I guess he's tough, you know? So that was not going to be the course. That was not going to be the topic of the live stream, but that like freaked me out. Because this cat, and I don't even like cats. I've never been a cat person. But this cat, they're growing on me. I just feel bad for any animal that, you know, gets injured. And then also, you know, like, I miss my dogs so much. I miss my dogs so very much. So I was at an AA meeting last night, and, you know, in hindsight, I feel like some of the people that went with me were like, you know, talking about, come here, kitty. You want to come sit by me? You can come. You want to come sit by me? I feel so bad. I feel so bad for this cat. But so it was like a boring meeting, I feel like, but it was crazy because it was like very large meeting. Like there was like a lot of people there. But, I guess I didn't realize that it was kind of, dull or whatever, because like halfway through the meeting, I just out of nowhere, like this flood of emotion came over me. Like I just started missing my dogs so much. And I do miss them because, so abandonment is, I would think, this is in my non-expert, but also very experienced, humble opinion. Abandonment is probably, I would think, one of the biggest, you know, causes, I would think, of addiction. It's the pain that comes from abandonment is, I think for one thing, I think everybody can relate to it. I think that everyone has been, at least to some degree, abandoned, whether it be like very early in childhood, whether it be like a legitimate, you know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like we have abandonment issues or abandonment wounds just from, you know, the life in itself of like, you know, mother going back to work or something. But I think there's something that taps into like a, like almost, I don't want to say primal, but like a very, like instinctual, place in maybe in our brain, where, you know, our instincts were designed to keep us alive, you know. So I mean, like an abandonment wound in today's society would be like, I'm in love with somebody and I don't want them to leave me, because it reminds me of, you know, like when my mother or father left me as a child type deal. But, you know, it really stems from this survival mechanism of like being in the woods or something, and mom leaving you to go, like, you know, or dad leaving to go hunt for food or something. I mean, and it's like a fear that is legitimate because, you know, we depend on them for like to protect us, you know. Granted, we don't have, you know, modern day bears that we're afraid of, but the emotion, I believe, is still, it's still that legitimate. Our brain doesn't have the ability, I don't think, to distinguish between an actual fear or an actual threat and a perceived one, you know, in matters of the heart. You know, the heart and the brain are very much like not on the same scale in that sense, you know. So if you have ever experienced love and loss, you know, and a lot of people are probably familiar with the extreme version of that, which is, you know, when someone just outpours this tremendous amount of love and affection on you and then abruptly, you know, takes it back or switches up on you or whatever it may be. It, you know, it hurts. It hurts. And I mean, you know, the pervert, like the age old question of like, is it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all? Well, I mean, like, that's a very legitimate thing. But when it comes to, abandonment, and when it comes to, that type of love and loss situation, it really is, it's the most painful thing ever. And we don't recognize it, I think, a lot of times, because we're just like, really, we want that, and I don't know that many people would have the ability to just be like, no, stay away, so on a much lighter note, well, and the reason I was saying that is because, I'm sure some of you are aware, but like for the last 2 years, or close to 2 years, I've stayed at home with my dogs, like every day, all day, every day. And you've seen, like, throughout my videos, like I just love on them, like I just love on them, like, all the time. Like, I'm with them all the time, and now I'm just gone. And that's just, look at this little dog over here. That's just very that's very hard for me. It's very hard for me to hello, puppy dog, what are you doing? I see you over there, little puppy dog. You're so cute. This dog is so cute. Look, I'm about to show y'all. Look at this dog. Oh my gosh, look how cute and happy he is. All to be young, right? That is so cute though. That dog is like so carefree, and he's just out there like just playing with his like football or whatever. Look, and the cat's oh, that's a bad wound. I can't look at it. It's making me nauseous. But so anyway, so on a much lighter note, it is Jade's birthday, my friend / roommate here at the house. It's her birthday today. I want to say that, the glitter, I want to say that is, in celebration for her birthday, but also it was just because I wanted to glitter. But I think birthdays are like the most appropriate time to glitter. So if anybody wants to to comment, hello, little baby, the little baby, oh, the little baby kitty. I want to be on the live stream, kitty. Look, I want to be on the live stream, little kitty. Don't lay on you, Bobo. Y'all can't see him. He's not in there, look. Kitty. That's so sweet. So, if you want to just comment, just wish her happy birthday. She has had an outpouring of love and support and people that have, just really made her feel as one should feel on their birthday. I think that I've always celebrated people's birthdays. I've always thought that, out of all the things that you can do in this world that could make you special, whether it be like Mother or Father's Day or, whatever holidays or celebratory things, it's like the day that you were born really is a day that you should be celebrated for, even though you didn't really do anything. But just, it's something that is personal to you. I love this kitty, and I used to hate cats, y'all, so much. So on that note, wish her happy birthday. Comment, everyone, tell Jade happy birthday. Let her know that our community, just loves her, and we're so grateful that she was born on this day just a few years ago. And then, so also I want to say this. So in recovery, one of the key components in like the 12 steps, which I fully believe is like one of the most liberating and healing parts of, going through the steps and really just, healing from the inside out. So one of the steps in the AA 12-step program is, you go through and you make amends. You make a list of all the people throughout your life that you have, hurt, that you injured, that you've done something to. Look at the kitty, kitty. Oh my gosh. And then and make amends to them when possible, assuming that they're still alive, and that you're not going to tell them something that's going to like damage them or somebody else, you know. And so without going into too much detail with that, I will say that I've seen a lot of recovering addicts and alcoholics that have almost glamorized, you know, or in my opinion, and maybe I was being super, y'all don't look at his bobo, it's kind of gross, almost glamorized a lot of their you know, their past, you know, in a way that was almost like, it kind of just was a turn off to me. Like, for example, when I was in treatment in 2020, one of the clinical directors of the recovery center that I was at was like, he kept talking about how he got chlamydia like 5 times and how he kept giving his wife chlamydia. And I was just like, if this dude says chlamydia one more time, I swear, like, it was just crazy. Look, there's like cat hair. Look at all this glitter. Y'all see it? Let me see if we can get you a... I'm like all like, I literally glittered like my whole face. I might need to turn the other way so you can like fully see the glitter. It's gonna take me a minute to like get to get situated, just because like and it's crazy because like I actually had things today that I like wanted to talk about, and I'm just like la la la, like glitter. Well, I'm just gonna keep moving around till I get it right. What do y'all think? So anyway, so I was saying, like, if this, I'm not gonna say it again because yeah, I'm like saying it as many times as I say it, like chlamydia. But it was very off-putting to me, the fact that it seemed like he was almost bragging about it. And I thought, you know, especially on behalf of his wife, I'm like, there's a difference in being honest about, like, you know, the pitfalls, like the horrible things that we do in our addiction. But at the same time, it's like, out of respect for your wife, you know, like, maybe you should not keep bragging about how you cheated on her every day and like how she was this beautiful, perfect angel and you like kept giving her STDs. So I say all that to say this. There's something that I feel like I don't want to do that. I don't want to say something in a way that makes it seem like I'm like bragging about something that I did, but it is something that weighs on me very heavily. And the person that it is related to is actually someone who at one point like followed my channel and watched a lot of my videos and stuff. So in hopes of him possibly being out there right now, I want to, I would say, make amends, for lack of better terms. You know, there's a person that I crossed paths with, or that actually I would say more than crossed paths with, a person that like came into my life right before I went into treatment. Like, so I mean, I'm talking like in the past 2 months. And this person was, it just seemed more than coincidence that this person kind of fell into my life the way he did. And, you know, I was with somebody, he was with somebody, so it was very much like not in a romantic capacity to any extent. But we just kind of clicked on a very, what it seemed like a very real level, you know, and, you know, and he seemed to think the world of me. And that's something that was kind of odd, because on one hand, it was like people don't typically, you know, think highly of me, I guess, or outwardly express it the way he did. But also at the same time, I feel like I do know myself, and I know like what attributes I have that are like, I think are good. I think that I am someone who really has a lot to offer, you know, in a lot of positive ways, but I don't necessarily expect the world to agree or celebrate that the way I would in other people, or the way that I do in other people. So when this person was like, you know, I just, you know, I told my friends about you, and you know, and I was just like, I keep saying how like, you know, this person, like, she's amazing, and like, you got to watch her channel and stuff. It was like, on one hand, I was like, oh, you know, but on the other, I was like, you know, thank you. Like, I appreciate that. Like, that was the point of me, you know, kind of getting involved and like kind of starting this channel in hopes that I could inspire someone in a real way. Now, granted, I was full blown in, you know, an addiction, but that, you know, seemed to be irrelevant at the time. So, so I knew this person for all of like 2 days, and, you know, he showed up at my house like at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after like knowing him for like 2 days. And he's like, I just wanted to come by and let you know that I'm on my way to rehab. Like, I have, you know, his car was like packed, and he was like, you know, I have an appointment to go check into rehab, drug rehab, you know. He was like, and I just didn't feel right leaving town without talking to you first, because you really did inspire me in a lot of ways, and I wouldn't feel right just skipping town and like never talking to you again. You know, I just felt like, even though we don't know each other very well, you know, you kind of like, I just felt like I owed you that in a sense, you know. And this really makes me like sick to my stomach, you know, and excuse my language, but I really was like, fuck that, you know, like, fuck rehab, you know. And I literally even said, and this is like, again, I'm not saying these things like I'm not proud of this in any way. I was like, who makes an appointment to go to rehab? You know? Like, the only times that I'd ever went to rehab, well, I mean, I've been multiple times, but it was always like, go to the hospital, go to rehab, you know, get people to bring you clothes, whatever. To actually pack your bags up and recognize that like you have a problem, and to want to seek out help, and to even go so far as to like plan it, schedule an appointment, like check in and everything, like that's something that is very commendable. And I was just like, no, these people are the enemy. You know, I was like, you don't want to go there. And I was like, listen, let me tell you what they did across the street at the recovery center by my house. They would tell the women like not to look at the men, you know, it's shame. It is literally like the biggest source of like, and I'm not going to go into all the details because it's not true. But me being as convincing as I was, he was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, thank you. Like, you're right. Proceeded to like go get one of his friends, and, you know, we ended up having a huge party at my house, literally, like just this random day, just doing drugs, riding around town all night, like just insane, you know. And then the next day, literally the next day, I went to the hospital. Like, I checked myself in, and then went from there to rehab, and have been there for, you know, you know, like, and I don't know where this person is. And now, granted, we all make our own decisions, you know. I mean, I'm not that persuasive. If I could persuade people to do something all the time like that, I would move mountains. So I mean, the fact that he was so easily persuaded really does not entirely fall on me. I mean, you know, if he, you know, we all make our own choices. However, it just has weighed on me. And he had this friend that I also met briefly, and I just think about him all the time. You know, I think about him because I think when you connect with people on that level, it can be a very unhealthy, especially when, you know, drugs are involved, and that lifestyle, and just kind of like, you know, it can be very unhealthy. But at the same time, you connect with people for very real ways. Whether it be I'm broken and you're broken and we're the same type of broken. Again, it doesn't matter to how much unhealthy it is. It still is a bond that you share with people, and it's real, you know. So, like, I was at the meeting last night, and I was like, there was this guy that was sitting kind of like across the way from me, and when I tell you, this guy looked nothing like the one of the men that I'm referring to, like nothing at all. I'm talking about like not even the same ethnicity. But I just kept seeing him and that man. And his name is Shetty, just so you know, that way if he's out there listening, I don't even think he has a phone. Very like anti-establishment. Oh, this cat. Oh my God, this cat, y'all. This cat, literally, like, I don't even know if you can see this. This is like melting my heart right now. So anyway, this is a person that's very much like anti, you know, like doesn't even have a phone. But I know his friend Vic had a phone and was like showing him, you know, like showing him my YouTube videos and stuff. And so if by chance they're ever, you know, happen to be out there, like I think the reason that it weighs on me so heavily is because, you know, I always talk about my brother-in-law James that took his own life, and like I just left, you know, like I left home and I went to treatment, you know, and I got better, and he didn't, you know. And again, I'm only one person. Like, I can't control anybody's life. I can't. At the end of the day, like, we all make our own choices, but I would never want to leave somebody behind. And I definitely would never, ever, ever want to just hinder someone's, you know, ability or, you know, like, to get clean, you know. And he had a family and stuff, or I mean, he still does, but it just weighs on me so heavily. So I pray that our paths will cross one day. I pray that one day I will be able to, you know, see him at a meeting or something, you know, that I'll look across and it won't be somebody that looks nothing like him, but it's just weighing on me so heavily that I see his face in everybody. You know, I hope that I can see them, because they were brilliant people. You know, I mean, you could just tell that they had, you know, so much going for them if they you know, could rise above that lifestyle, you know. And I just want that for them, because again, if I could want that for if I deserve that, then I know they do too. Y'all, this cat, oh my God, he's just like, it's really like soothing my soul. It really, really is. I'm overwhelmed with emotion right now. I'm overwhelmed with so many emotions, which is very par for the course in recovery. You know, we use to escape, to hide from our emotions, you know, to dull our senses, to not face the reality that, you know, just debilitates us. So it's expected to have kind of like an overwhelming moments, but the good thing is right now I'm feeling this. Like, I'm literally just petting this cat, and he's just balled up next to me. And it reminds me that, you know, so much of healing really can come from helping others, being there for others, being in fellowship with others, you know, and just today is such a beautiful day, you know. And I went for that interview this morning at 7 Brew, and God, it was just so perfect, you know, like it really was just so perfect. And when I got there, like I just rode my bike, like I just like zoom, like just pulled up in there, you know, and just hopped off my bike and was sitting there and was like, they were playing Pink Floyd, Learning to Fly. And it just, again, with the emotions like flooding through me, like it just hit home so much. And I'll never quit feeling that much. You know, I'll never quit. Just like this cat right now that's just literally just like, you know, I don't want to ever, ever get bogged down in life to where I don't stop to feel a breeze, you know, blowing past me, or the sun beating down on me on a gorgeous day like today, or dancing like a fool, you know, or just these things that make us alive, you know. And I definitely don't need drugs for that at all. I don't. You know, this is going to be a hard journey, you know. Well, it's not going to be easy. I'll say that. It's not going to be easy. But I just feel so at peace right now. I really just feel so at peace. I mean, I got the job if I wanted, you know, so that's good. And, you know, they fast track people to management and stuff. I mean, obviously I don't want to be working at a coffee shop for the rest of my life, but it wasn't just a job to me. It was something that I felt like, the first time I went there, I was just like, dude, these people get me. Like you don't find many establishments or really many people at all that you just get that sense from, And something I was telling Jade this morning, I was like, I think that my biggest focus right now is I'm going to embrace all the cliches that used to just, make me cringe. Like, when I went through AA the first time, I remember just thinking, like, these people are so, like, they think they're so cool, like, running these meetings and stuff, and it was just so, like, off-putting to me. And I realize now that I just thought that I knew everything, first of all. So I was like, the fact that these people, were up there in front of me just really was off-putting to me in itself. And I clearly had no desire whatsoever or no intentions of staying in the program for any length of time whatsoever. And I just had a bad attitude. And I think part of that stemmed from, when you go through very, very, when you really go through struggles in life, like truly just are going through something, I think that God does, hold us, he's closer to us in those times, in those periods where we really need him the most. But, it very much gives us this sense of like the self-centeredness that AA talks about so much in the book. It's just like we take everything, alcoholics tend to take like everything that's, designed for good, and we find a way to abuse it. We take all of the, we just do that, So I would take, something as, a blessing, like, God really just could, like, I'm not really making sense. What I'm saying though is that I look back on it now and I think, I thought that I knew everything. I definitely thought that I knew more than these AA people, and then, I went through it again and was like, right now I'm going through it and I'm like, I just want to be like them. I'm like, I just want to, I just want to be a part of something, and they're doing that, and they're sober. I don't know why my stuff just went off. That's weird. So, look at the full outfit. Like, I'm so like a, never been a tennis shoe and jeans person, but I've been like doing it, and that's one of the fun things that I remember from recovery is like just learning. Hello, I keep thinking somebody's gonna be in here. Where is everybody today? I just wanted to check in every day. We have our big house meeting tonight, so there'll be a lot of women fellowshipping together, women in recovery and stuff. And it's Jade's birthday, so she's inside baking a cake by herself, so I'm definitely going to get in there with her. I think we're going to do like some art. I think we're going to do like some art stuff in a little while. Like, I have my paint and my canvases and stuff. And it's just, life is good, I think things are going to pick up drastically as soon as I start this job, because it is, like a very, I'll be doing IOP 3 times a week, like 3 mornings out of the week. I'll be working, I'll be working pretty much as much as I can, and then going to AA meetings in the evenings as I'm able to, and church on Sunday, and I need that. Like, I need to be busy like that, because I feel like the moment that I stop, I feel these waves of just sadness and just this heaviness that comes over me very quickly. And one of the other things I was going to say is like, so St. Anne's is the hospital that I went to in South Louisiana. It was like very, very South Louisiana, you know, like I had no idea where I was. It's so beautiful down there, though. I didn't realize that until I left there in a vehicle, and I was like, oh my God, this place is beautiful. But I called them earlier and was like, I just want y'all to know that like treating me the way you treated me saved my life. You know, again, you can't give everybody credit because like I made the choice to go there and I made the choice to get clean and everything, but like I can never express my gratitude for the people that have really cared enough to either treat me kindly or treat me like, you know, I needed to be treated, like the psychiatrist there that was just like, get your shit together, you know. I needed that, you know, and it's like God really puts I just want to talk about him all the time. I want to talk about God all the time because, you know, I've realized, like, another thing that I realized yesterday, this hit me like really hard. I was like, you know, I want to give credit to whoever it is, you know, whoever the person in my life that I felt like I want to just like, you know, granted, some of the people that have been very influential in my life, you know, that have been there for me when I needed it most, I really believe that God put them in my life, but God put them in my life, you know. God did everything for me. God has opened up doors and put me places and brought me out of things and lifted people from my life and placed other people, you know. He has done all that. He has. And my roommate said something earlier today that just really, God is just like, she said he's the real he, you know, like it's not to put men down, you know, and I don't just hate men, you know, I really don't. I mean, I love men. I want men to feel loved because I feel like that's something that they are very, very lacking, and it saddens me. But he is everything. God is everything. He is, you know, everything. And I just want to celebrate that, and I want to redirect my thoughts, like every time I go to a person. I mean, and it's nothing wrong with being grateful for, there's nothing wrong with like giving credit where credit's due, you know. I can be thankful, like the lady that runs the house. I mean, I'm clinging to her so much right now. Like I really am. Like I text her all the time just to tell her everything that's going on in my life because I don't have that mother-like figure. And it's not like she's that much older than me, but like she's very much a motherly, you know, person to me. And still as like a grown woman, I still need that. I still cling when I'm sick, I crave that in a very unhealthy way. You know, when I'm not okay, it's either a symptom of it or maybe it's one of the causes of it. Either way, I seek that out. And it's not just that I seek it out in men, I just seek it out in anyone, you know, because it's like when I don't feel loved, it either stems from or, you know, is directly, you know, points back to this love that I've always missed, that I've always craved from my mother, you know. And but when I'm healed, when I'm healthy, it's like I don't need it in other people. I just appreciate it, and I see it for what it is, you know, and I'm grateful for it. Sometimes I give it, you know, like sometimes I give love to people in the way that I wish that I would have always received it, you know what I mean? Like I am very nurturing, and I am very loving to people, you know, when I'm healthy, you know. But when I'm sick, I seek it out in a very unhealthy way, or in very not healthy people, you know. And I guess that would be like a you know, this subconscious, like this feeling of rejection, you know, that comes from, you know, seeking out love in very unavailable places, you know. but I'm not there today. Like today, I'm okay. I'm just really okay today. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And I'm really, really grateful that, you know, I can breathe. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that like I can be like this every day. Yes, there will be ups and downs in life. There will always be ups and downs in life. But like God will continue to make a way where there was not a way every day that I put my trust in him. Every day that I just let go of the fear and the you know, everything that holds me back, and I just tell him every day, you know, like, God, I trust you. I surrender my life to you, my will to you. Put me in situations where I can be of service to you or in service to your people, and put me, you know, around people who will lift me up and not tear me down, and that you know you in the way that I know you, and love you in the way that I love you, and just surround me with your presence. And you know, it's like, if I do that every day, like that's all there is, you know. I don't have to get bogged down with anything else. I don't have to get bogged down with, well, when am I going to be able to get a car, or will I ever be able to have a mortgage, you know, or like, how will I, you know, like all these things that are just so unclear, you know. They don't have to be. All I have to do is just be okay today, you know. And it's like I want so badly to like get through the steps and everything so that I can start sponsoring people, but I think it's because, you know, I think I'm ready. You know, I think I'm at a point where I really want to get out there and, you know, help other people. And I know I can't do that until I'm in a place in my own recovery where I can, but like I want to be there. And everybody's like, well, you know, not everybody, but like this girl the other day was like, well, you know, just pace yourself. You know, you don't want to rush it. And I'm like, why? You know, I'm like, that's literally what the program is centered around, is like helping people, you know. So what would be wrong with wanting to, you know, go through the process, you know, trust the process, to work the steps, like do all the things I need to do. But like, what's wrong with wanting to do it sooner rather than later, you know, and be able to, you know, share to others what was so graciously given to me, you know. And hopefully my story one day will help somebody, you know. Hopefully I can be a testimony to someone that's either been abused or abandoned or struggle with addiction, or you know, any other things that I, you know, that don't define me. They're not who I am, but they are part of my story, you know, and it's part of where I came from, and you know. And I just think that rigorous honesty is really it. I mean, it's like everything, you know. I know this video has kind of been all over the place, but it was just because like I wanted to say that I think I'm in a point where like today, even though I have been like very bubbly and excited and stuff, at the same time I've felt this like somberness that's like really just been, you know, acknowledging the weight that was on me from the people that the few times I was, and this is part, okay, so this is part of it too. So like, God gives us more, like he gives us little to manage, and depending on how well we manage it, he'll give us more, you know. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where like, you know, if you're a good steward with, you know, what he grants you, then he'll bless you with more, you know, because you've proved that you're, you know, capable, you know, you're grateful that you're going to manage it well, you know. So, you know, when God put people in my life, the first time he put people in my life that were like, wow, like you inspire me, like I see something in you that I want for myself, and I blew it. You know, I did. Like I blew it. I let them down, and I let God down. And that's not a track record that I want. Like that's not that's not that's not the reputation that I want to have with God, you know, that like that was a test and I absolutely failed it, you know. So I want to learn from that, and I want to never be in a situation again where God allows me the opportunity to help someone, you know, for him to help someone through me and me blow it, you know. So that's where I'm at today, you know, just feeling very grateful, very, very excited about this job. very excited about being around a bunch of girls, you know, a bunch of women. I don't know why I've always called them girls. I mean, we're women, you know, we are women. This is what we are. And I think that it's time. You know, I was talking to my, you know, one of my good friends from rehab that, you know, I was saying, like, men are killing it out there right now. You know, men in recovery are just like, they're this united force, and I love that. But like, the women we've got to, you know, follow suit, because to think that there's more men that need help and need, you know, support than women is just absurd. You know, if anything, we probably need it more, because we've been torn down by other women and by men. You know, we've torn ourselves down, we've let other women tear us down, we've torn other women down, we've torn men down, and we've had them tear us down. And so it really is time to get back together and just be raw with each other, you know, to be able to say, like, you know, like, this is who I am, this is my insecurities, this is me at the very core, you know, like, I'm jealous of you right now, but I don't want to be, you know, I want to be happy for you, but I've wanted, you know, that car, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, it's like, it's time to get honest about that, you know. I mean, we're just so guarded at times, you know, or a lot of people are, and it's just time to, like, kind of let that go. So I think I want some coffee right now. I think I'm going to end this live stream just because I feel like it was more of just a check-in for me. I haven't really seen anybody on here, which is fine. It really is, for me, just a way to check in every day to hold myself accountable. And this kitty's like yelling at me to pet it. It's just so beautiful out here today. Did everybody get like a good glimpse of my, let me see. Okay, so I know I showed you like the shoes already. Like, I know I did that already. But, like, I want you to see this glitter. Because I really am, like, so glittered up. Let's see. Is that funny? This will be a good thumbnail, too. Yeah, here. I really outdid myself for Jade's birthday. Anyway, guys, I hope that you will continue to, you know, join me in this journey. And I did talk for like 42 minutes. It was a long time to be talking about absolutely nothing. So I think that's good. Yeah, if you catch this in the, like, on the the replay, still, you know, definitely still join me in wishing Jade happy birthday. And look at me. I've been dressing like a tourist, like, every day. Do you see this? I don't know why I'm like a tourist. I'm like, anyway, look at this cat too. I don't know if it like got its face too, or maybe I'm just, no, I don't think it got its face. I think it's just, oh my gosh, look at this, watch this. Oh, hold on, let me zoom out just a little bit, watch. Oh, 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 oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh. That's what I want to feel like every day. That's how I want life to be, just like, oh. Okay, thank y'all for tuning in. I will definitely be back tomorrow with, you know, just kind of like a little check-in on everything. And yeah, like, share, subscribe, comment, wish Jade happy birthday, and have a good evening, afternoon.